Hey guys, welcome back to IT Contents channel. In today's Linux tutorial, we're going to be diving into one of the most underrated but yet powerful command in Linux, the ls command. If you've ever struggled with reading long files in the terminal, this command will be your new best friend. And in this video, we're going to be breaking it down step by step so that you can easily understand and know how to fully utilize the power of the ls command. So now, as we get started, we need to first understand the basics of the ls command. So how is its syntax? So the first thing that we want to do is type ls space, then here we can specify a path to the file that we want to view on our terminal, or we can specify the file itself if, for example, we are in the same directory. For example, if I was to say test.yaml, if that's a file that I want to view, if I press enter, it will show me the file if that file exists. So in this case, that file does not exist here, that's why we do not have it. So now let's quickly look at an example of one of the files that you already have on your system that you can follow along with me. So if we type ls here space /var/log/syslog, this is just your system log files. So if you press enter now, you will notice that here I don't have all the information at once, and I can easily use the down arrow to scroll through my list if I'm using a keyboard. And if I want to exit list, I can just press Q on my keyboard. Now let's quickly compare that to cat so that you fully understand the power of the ls command. So if I bring back the same and I replace the ls with cat and press enter, this is what you're going to get. So cat will just chuck the whole entire file on you, and now again you have to scroll through all this, and you have to go all the way at the top if, for example, this was a file that you're busy configuring. If it's a config file, for example, and it has got hundreds of lines, this is what you're going to get if you use cat. So if you use ls instead, you'll notice that it's a more controlled display, and like I said, you can easily scroll through this entire file page by page like that, because it divides it into sections. And also it's much faster because it doesn't load the whole file at the go, it loads chunks of that file. So now most of the times we usually use the ls command with options. So I'm going to show you now one of our first options that we are going to utilize in this tutorial. So in this case, let's say, for example, this is a configuration file and you're looking for, let's say, an IP address or a specific pattern in that file. You can use the ls command with a -p option. This is for start at the beginning of the pattern. So we can give it a specific pattern that we want to be highlighted in the file. So for example, if I wanted to highlight, let's say, for example, the IP address 192.168.1.15, for example, then I can specify the path like that to the file. So again, we can specify our logs. So if I press enter now, you'll notice that everywhere where that IP address is has been highlighted for us. So meaning it's easy for me to easily spot that that's a search pattern that I've utilized. Again, we still have the power to scroll through the file. So you can easily chain options together. For example, here on the -p, I can add another option, which is a -n. So the -n just adds the line number to the file so that you can easily identify at what point or how far have you gone in the file. So if I press enter now, you'll notice that right now we are on line 57. So in case you see something like this where all this is saying 57, that's just one line. It's just that on my screen I have increased the font size of my text. So now quickly let's revise what we've just gone through. I'll press Q to cancel. So right now we've utilized the -p option. This again just allows us to search for a specific pattern in said file, and here we added the -n. Note that the n is capital, so this just added the line number in our file so we can easily identify at what point or how far have we gone in the file. And again, it's much easier in case you save the file into a specific directory. You can easily open that file using any other text editor and you know which line to go to based off of your search. So apart from that, the less command also allows live input, so meaning it also works the same way as a tail command. So for example, if I was to use this same system log file, if we were to use a tail like that, I would utilize a -F like that and press enter, and that should bring up the live input of what's going on in that file. So it's live data that is coming in and is updating every time. So if I was to cancel that, the less command also allows that as well. So we can type less, then we can specify plus capital F. So that's what tells it that it will be getting in live data, as you can see, so that it easily refreshes. So if I press enter now, you will notice it's saying waiting for data, and again it will keep updating, as you can see from here, in case you want to view the live data, for example, like so. And again, if you press Ctrl C, it will just abort that, and now again you can utilize the scrolling. In case you've captured the part that you are looking for, you can now easily scroll through here and identify your issue. If you have any issue, press Q to close. And apart from that, let's say you're viewing a small file, for example, and you want, once you're done viewing the file, it closes. Once you reach the bottom, it closes. You can utilize the -E. So if we do less -E, we can specify, let's say, a file. So for example, let me just quickly do this. So if I say this time around I want to do less -E, then I specify the file. For example, that's the file I want. If I press enter now, you notice it's still the same, but if I keep scrolling, once I reach the bottom of the file, that will happen. So it will easily exit out of the less command once it reaches the bottom. And again, we also have other options that you can easily utilize to make your experience much better. So for example, if we were to use the less command with a -F, okay, so this just tells less that if the file can fit on my terminal screen, show it to me and exit. So for example, I'll utilize the text file that I have here, .yaml. Then if I press enter now, you'll notice it has exited, but again it has displayed the content of what is in the file. And like I said, most of these options can be changed together. For example, like I showed you, if I wanted it to display the line number, I can show it like that. Then if I wanted to search for a specific pattern in the file, for example, I would specify P, then I can provide my search or my pattern in the file. So for example, for searching for thank you, for example, like that. So if I press enter, you will notice that we have thank you highlighted like that, and I can press Q again to exit. So make sure you test this out by yourself and you see how it fully works. But as you can see, it's nothing complicated, and if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, because I'll be releasing more commands that you need to know, for example, like systemctl explained. So all those I'll be explaining on my channel. Just make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and make sure you turn on the notifications so that you don't miss anytime I release a new video.